Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The topic that I originally started this course with was the impact of Christianity on the civil rights movement and the rise of conservatism in the post 1950s timeframe. However, looking at the parameters of that topic, it was determined to be much too large, and I've decided to narrow my topic down. Now I'll be looking at the impact of the sit ins at Woolworth establishments during the civil rights movement in North Carolina, specifically in Charlotte, North Carolina, and Greensboro, North Carolina. Woolworth was a food establishment where you could purchase meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The reason that this topic is significant is because it provides a new um, angle of looking at the civil rights movement and looking at the ways consumerism was utilized by civil rights activists in their quest for overall equality. Now, when I look at the existing historiography on the sit-ins, it is very varied. So, a couple of things I notice about the existing historiography on the sit-ins. One, they are either case studies in which a specific sit-in is analyzed from beginning to end. For example, looking at the sit-ins in Jackson, Mississippi. So that's an example of a case study. Another is there is an overall comparison across the board. So a comparison between the ones in Mississippi, the ones in Tennessee, the ones in Texas, and then the ones in South Carolina. So a comparative analysis. Another area that I noticed was also their overall encompassment into the civil rights historiography as a whole. Now, I see that as somewhat problematic in nature because while it is an important aspect of the civil rights movement, the sit-ins need to be understood as significant events during the overall historic civil rights movement. So when looking at these sit-ins, we have to ask ourselves, who are the main individuals who are organizing these sit-ins? And you'll notice a trend that they tend to be younger members who are fed up with the slow overall approach that the older members of the civil rights movement were taking. These young men and women wanted action, and they wanted action now. They did not see the progress that was being made. As a matter of fact, they pointed out to a lack of progress or no progress at all. So hence their more radical, direct approaches. One of the questions that I'll be asking for this analysis into the Woolworth sit-ins is going to be, who are some of the main characters involved? While this is very important in establishing the five W's, sometimes other characters who may be involved in a more non-direct role may be overlooked by historians. Another question that feeds off of this is going to be, what is the role of women during these sit-ins? Now, I noticed that their history or their contributions were silenced for a particular reason, and I want to delve a little bit deeper into the reasons being. Why were they silenced, and why did they choose to remain silent, or was someone telling them to remain silent? So I want to explore this a little bit more. My analysis into the Woolworth sit-ins are important because they look at consumerism as an active agent of change during the overall civil rights movement. So the overall civil rights movement does look at the political implications of the civil rights movement, the main leaders, some of the economic effects. However, my analysis is going to take a more direct economic and social analysis into the Woolworth sit-ins in the overall civil rights historiography. One of the other questions that I think is important, that in light of recent historical developments, specifically with commemorations and also with historical memory, is how are the Woolworth sit-ins being taught in history and also being quote unquote remembered? So how do these historical commemorations honor those who participated in the Woolworth sit-ins, and how is this being taught to our subsequent generations? I think this is very important for us to analyze in the overall historiography arguments for the civil rights movement, and I think there can be much further analysis in this area. And this is where I seek to bring in some discussion and to shed some light on the material. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. I welcome any feedback. Thank you once again.